Dinner for shoes, please.
Hi, welcome to an episode of Dinner for Shoes. Today's episode is called AAPI-Owned Businesses and Fashion Brands. I am so excited to talk you through some of my faves, all of which I'm wearing. And we are gonna eat food from Black Rail in Hoboken. And we are going to hopefully have the cats involved. I didn't bring up Kit's little bassinet. I've never called that thing a bassinet before, but hey, there's a first time for everything. I didn't bring it up because, I don't know, I felt like it was distracting from me, myself, and I. And even though Kit and Trish are semi-part of the, talent, I am the talent. No, I'm kidding. I didn't bring it up because it's got some hair on the cushion. I'm looking at it right now. It looks dirty and I don't really want to get that around my Christina Alcalay jumpsuit. Okay, so I have two interviews for you today. One is with Christina Alcalay herself, and another is with Wang of Ming Wang. With Christine has basically created this lifestyle brand. She owns two boutiques on top of her own atelier. Her online presence is gorgeous. The website is amazing. You not only can shop her own designs, one of which I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Quinn jumpsuit today in this striped pattern, which I absolutely love. I think my favorite element is this little belt. It just, a matchy belt and piece of clothing, just totally, I guess we're talking about the outfit behind the shoes, huh? It just totally makes things more sophisticated and polished to me because it's almost like a matching set all in one, even though it's not. It's just a belt that goes with a jumpsuit. But I don't know, I also like that it's detachable, so you could always wear the belt with a different outfit, or you could wear the jumpsuit as is. Honestly, this jumpsuit could go from a sophisticated look when it's belted, even worn with a blazer or other layers, to literally a beach cover up. So this is my favorite thing ever. I'm obsessed with it. But then I'm also wearing this amazing necklace. It's pearl and beaded, and it's from Latte, and they are another AAPI-owned brand that I'm going to be talking about today. This necklace is kind of the quirky, playful, down-to-earth element of my outfit today because, obviously we've got this sophisticated jumpsuit that I talked about, as well as this patent leather Mary Jane, which kind of balances everything out and brings my look, I think, along with the necklace, some sort of playful feminine element. So I'm liking that. So I want to dive in because we're going to talk about Ming Wang, which is an incredibly cool jewelry brand. I wouldn't say they're anything like Latte. It's different. They are actually very colorful and bold and creative, but in a different sort of way. Whereas Latte is more Y2K leaning and kind of infused with nostalgia, but we'll talk about it. So I want to talk through all of my favorite brands. And I also want there to be time for you to check out my interviews with Jen Wang and with Christine Alcalay. So we're going to dive in. I'll finish talking about my outfit. We'll talk about, I think we'll do a few of my favorite AAPI owned brands, and then we'll pull out the food because I'm starving and I don't feel like waiting till the end. And then we'll talk about a few more. How does that sound? I think that sounds good. Girls, you're invited. You're invited up. If they don't come up by the end, we will get them involved. But actually, I know when they're going to come up. Spoiler alert, we have Tuna. They both just looked at me when I said that. So, yeah. Okay, let's get into it. So, first of all, these shoes are by Cider. Patent leather, burgundy shoes. As you know, red is a big trend right now, specifically burgundy, maroon, shades like that. They're all happening. It's kind of like a rollover from winter, right? But I really like this one because these shoes are just really comfortable. If you don't know about Cider is one of my and producer Megan's favorite spot to just look at trending pieces right now. We really like it. Cider was founded by Michael Wang, who is a tech advisor and the co-founder of Y Closet, which is an online clothing rental service. We've talked about those before, but this one is based in cities across China. So he also is the CEO CEO and is the co-founder of Cider. And I really like these. I really think that because of the patent leather, they offer a little something more than if it was just like a regular leather or a suede. And yeah, put those on. You already know about my jumpsuit. You already know about my Note necklace, which I am going to tell you what the name of this necklace is because I just think that you would enjoy the name of it. I think I put that somewhere. It's like the pearly, yes, it's the Oopsie Daisy pearly necklace. And I just love that because I'm like such an Oopsie Daisy person. And I think when I got this necklace, I didn't even know that was the name of it, but like now I do. And I'm just like, wow, that really, goes with who I am. So thank goodness that it's called the Oopsie Daisy necklace. Okay, now let's get into some of my favorite AAPI brands, and then you'll hear in depth about Ming Wang and Christine Alcalay, and you'll get to know those brands, which are two very different brands, but I'm excited for you to dive into those interviews. They're two separate interviews. Okay, so first of all, before we start and I get into the notes that I wrote down and all of that, I just want to mention that there are a lot of AAPI-owned luxury brands that I love. Just to name a few, I wrote down some of my quick favorites: Peter Do, Prabal Gurung, Jason Wu, Philip Lim. But today I want to focus on ones that are a little bit more accessible and more potential, more potential for you to shop, gift give. Brands that you might not know about or have heard about that are a little lesser known, and some are small owned businesses. And I think that you'll be happier if I veer towards the more accessible camp than the luxury camp. So I hope you appreciate that. Okay, we're going to start just because I have to start with one of my best friends, Nikita, who is the founder of Squigs. Now, Squigs is not a fashion brand, it's a beauty brand, but I couldn't, we've talked about beauty before. We had a whole hair episode. I don't want to discriminate against beauty. And because it's Nikita, I just got to talk about Squigs. Also, Squigs is such an awesome brand. And there is a way in which they are coupled up with Note, which we will talk about shortly. But Squigs has a face serum and Gooseberry Delight hair oil. I kid you not, I use Gooseberry Delight hair oil every fucking day. It's amazing. Whatever you want to do to your hair, it will help you do. It's just a typical hair oil from the looks of it, but if you really shake it up and you put it where you want your hair to either be tame or just have a little bit more of a sheen, or I don't know, for me, it's like all of my damaged flyaways in the front, it completely quells those. And they are an Ayurvedic, I hope I pronounced that right, an Ayurvedic ingredient brand. And Ayurvedic basically means like feel good, completely natural ingredients. So both the products, the serum and the hair oil, are made with those ingredients. And similarly to Note, they just have this like Y2K feel about them. It almost like Nikita is essentially bringing Limited 2 back in the form of her hairline, her hair and her beauty line. And I love that because like who doesn't want Limited 2 to come back, right? And then similarly, and also important to talk about because Squigs and Note just had a pop-up shop together. It was in Soho. It was so much fun. I checked it out. I actually got a anklet from Note. So it was a bracelet that I was like, you know what? This could probably fit me as an anklet. And it's like adjustable. So I got one of those. Didn't really go with this outfit, especially because the pant legs are a little long on me, but I love it, and you should definitely check out the brand. It is run by Jessica C. On her website, she says it's a fun mix of New York quirk with a hint of La Dolce Vita daydreams. And I just love that description. And when you go to the website and you check out her product pages, it is spot on. It is a spot on description of what this jewelry is. Just looking at the jewelry like makes you happy. I'm wearing my necklace today, like I said, but this jewelry is thoughtfully made in small batches, and Jessica has dressed, a lot of celebrities have worn Note. Julia Fox, Doja Cat, Millie Bobby Brown, Sabrina Carpenter. Honestly, any celebrity who leans in heavily to the Y2K aesthetic has worn this brand. All right, let's also talk about Not Impressed because they kind of fall into this category. Founded by Ev Tao, This brand started as a handmade jewelry company. However, they quickly got popular for their beaded bags. And these things are like works of art. There's no way that if you were carrying this bag, it would not be a conversation starter. They come with so many different colors, charms, all different unique beads. And she also makes clips and other little charms that you can add to, you know, just little accessories you can add to your outfit that are just like perfect for summer. And everything is handmade, which is very impressive. Okay, Kim Shui. I also love this brand. Her clothes essentially start conversations, no matter what, no matter where you go. If you are wearing Kim Shui, like it is a conversation to be had. You will be making a statement. Again, so many celebrities favor this brand, and we're going to talk about that. But basically, she started the brand in order to start conversations and bridge cultures. So she's based in New York City, and she draws on central parts of her identity that had previously been shamed, from her cultural upbringing to her femininity, to inspire her pieces, which is a really powerful, I think, like concept and way you can start a new collection when you already have a brand in motion, right? Like going back to that feeling within. I think that that is what makes clothes so unique. And I think that's why so many people flock toward her brand. She's dressed everyone from Kylie Jenner and Stormi, her daughter, to Bella Hadid, Dua Lipa, Hailey Bieber, who's newly pregnant, Solange. I say that like she's my best friend. I have no idea. Solange Knowles, I have no idea who she is. I know who she is, but she's not my best friend, although I have interviewed her. Solange Knowles, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, and this is the most important, she recently dressed Karrueche for a movie premiere, and I still dream about this outfit. The 3-piece pink set. I would die if someone gave me that outfit to wear. I need it. I need it in my closet. I probably could make it happen, but like I haven't really obviously proceeded. Okay. Coffee break. By the way, when I bring up the food, we're going to talk about Black Rail, but let me just, since I'm already drinking it, you need to know this is an oat milk latte from Black Rail. And I don't want to start talking about the food right now, but basically Nick and I have always wanted to try Black Rail food because we always go in there for coffee. I love this oat milk latte. It's one of the best oat milk lattes in Hoboken, just so you know. So check it out. All right, let's get back into the brands. I don't want to be too distracting today. Okay. Dauphinette is founded by Olivia Chang. She uses, and I love this because you know we love sustainable brands here on Dinner for Shoes and we celebrate them a lot. She uses recycled and byproduct fur and leather and vintage materials. She has ready-to-wear and handbags and accessories. And the coolest thing is that her beetle dress, which I saw in person, it's this floaty work of art that looks like it has bejeweled beetles crawling all up into the bodice. Oh my God, it's incredible. It's in the Met. It's in the fucking Met exhibit, which is amazing for this brand. If you don't know about the current Met exhibit, check out my reel on the walkthrough of it because I did check it out in person. It was incredible and just so mesmerizing. It's like this, honestly, it's an experience. It's not just like art that you look at. You can smell, there are some things you can touch. You feel a certain way when you're walking through this exhibit. And Dauphinette is part of it. So this dress is in the Sleeping Beauty's Reawakening fashion exhibit at the Met, and she is famous for viral and tongue-in-cheek accessories, basically like her bread bags. And she is just in general a very courageous and experimental designer. Feng Yan. They are very interesting. They spotlight emerging Chinese designers by curating them all in an online shop. You can shop by designer. I know there are a lot of like retail sites that have this, but they also have a storefront in DC, although you can shop online. And also, Feng Yan, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but the word is translated as dialect, meaning a variety of Chinese languages. Their goal in creating the brand was to introduce the US to Chinese brands that are lesser known. It's a beautiful idea and a great concept, and all of their curations, if you go on their Instagram and scroll, are just like beautifully put together. And I love looking at clothes like that. I think that's why I like a curated online shop, because it's bringing all different designers and all different artists' clothes together and through someone else's vision, deciding like, oh, this would look good next to this. And like this, this section has these designers and this section has, I just think that that's a really cool approach to fashion. And like, I don't know, I like the idea of it. You get to, style a little. Sandy Lang is a hugely popular designer in fashion right now. She's been trending upwards for what feels like seasons at this point. She dresses also many famous celebrities. Jennie from Blackpink, Bella Hadid, Olivia Rodrigo, they're all fans. Her brand kind of mixes like this coquette and ballet core vibe all together. You'll see like long exaggerated bows, like extra feminine frilly details exaggerated, but then kind of at the same time streamlined, and maybe there's a sexy cutout that makes it more sophisticated. These pieces are also kind of like a work of art. And actually, she was first inspired by Chinatown grandmothers. That was her first inspiration. And she incorporates childhood motifs, hence like the bows, throughout her collections. She went to Parsons and then launched the label in 2014. And right now is just really reveling in a moment in fashion. Okay. Abacaxi. They are named for the Portuguese word for pineapple, which I just am obsessed with. Founded by designer Sheena Sood. She combines her knowledge of indigenous textiles with specialized techniques and crafts, such as handloom weaving, mirror work beading, embroidery, and plant dyeing. Her clothes are just like ultra saturated, beautiful clothes to look at. It's almost like if you look at her clothes for too long and you're shopping, you get dizzy trying to like pick a favorite print or pattern or silhouette because they're also creative and inventive. And on her Instagram, I really like that she tries on her own pieces, and in a way that's kind of like breaking the third wall and like introducing herself to her clients and her shoppers. And I just commend anyone who does that. And so she also, you know, just like many designers, obviously, she aims to tell a story with every new collection, but she really tries to like convince her shopper of that story with every drop, which I love. I said we were going to do the food, but like I'm on a roll right now and I have 3 more. So let me just get through these 3. And by the way, I just like hit the couch and Trish like freaked out because that's Trish. She gets nervous like literally all the time. But by the way, I just want to say that, you know, these are some of my favorite AAPI-owned brands, but just like when I've done the other episodes where I'm talking about any grouping of brands, there's so many more. And just because I pick a few doesn't mean that we won't talk about more and others in other episodes. These are not the only ones. These are not like the only cool ones. These are just ones that like right now I'm currently loving and really into. Okay, JW Pay. I had to bring, it doesn't go in my outfit, but I had to bring in my JW Pay bag because I have. I do love this bag. It's such a like fun, the color is Pepto-Bismol pink, okay? But hear me out. I like Pepto-Bismol. Like, wouldn't drink it the way I'm drinking this oat milk. But like, when I have to take it, this like could be TMI. When I have to take it, I get a little excited. Even if I'm nauseous as shit, when I go to pour the Pepto in, I'm like, this is gonna cure my nausea for a second. The taste of it, not the medicine itself. I actually enjoy that bubblegum taste of Pepto. And maybe that's why I was attracted to this JW Pay bag. I don't know. But hey, so I have it. I will hold it like this while I talk about the brand, okay? Okay, it will assist me. Okay, the bags are endlessly popular. They are well known for this shape. They kind of have like, well, they have a lot of shapes that they're well known for, but think of like a crescent moon style bag, and that is basically in all different forms, JW Pay. The little scrunch handle is also easily recognizable, but what's special about them is that they are all vegan. They're made with vegan leather. They are based in LA, and they also, their vegan leather is made from recycled plastics to eliminate waste. And by the way, the leather's beautiful. You could mistake it for regular leather easily. It's butter soft. It's gorgeous. They are also worn by many celebrities and influencers. And interestingly enough, they are sold on Amazon. So if you didn't know that, check it out. You can get fast free shipping. I love you, Amazon. All right. That's JW Pay. All right, Bon Bon Whims. Going back to that whole like Y2K quirky jewelry style. They have the same aesthetic. They make their jewelry with like very colorful enamel. Founded by Claire Nye in 2021. lots of celebrities were wearing the Ling Bling rings actually during the pandemic, like all over social media. And I think they were largely part of, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but during COVID, there was this push for like personality infused jewelry again. It was a way to express ourselves on Zoom calls because that's what we were doing during the pandemic. And this brand largely contributed to that, and they grew hugely, wildly popular during this time. Ariana Grande, Olivia Rodrigo, Doja Cat, Gigi Hadid, they're all fans of this whimsical, nostalgic jewelry. So definitely check them out. Okay, and then finally, I couldn't do this episode without mentioning them, even though the founder is going to be on an episode soon, spoiler, in June. But Ukiyo is my favorite swimwear brand of all time, and I don't believe that anything will ever come in place of Ukiyo. And I love the founder, and he is going to be on an episode talking all about how he founded his brand, the inspiration behind his brand, when we do our swimwear episode. So stay tuned. But the swimsuits are made from plastic water bottles. They're inspired by the 90s, so they've got this like retro Baywatch look to all of them. And the name Ukiyo, by the way, is named after the Japanese word ukiyo, spells a little differently, which describes the pleasure-seeking lifestyle of the Edo Japan period. It's all about traveling and living in the moment. And the fact that you are, getting these swimsuits made out of 100% regenerated materials is even more incredible and should make you feel even happier when you're wearing them. They're also just so fucking cool. A lot of celebrities wear ukiyo as well. They are very popular, very well known in the market space. And Vivek will also tell us more about this soon, but they've got the most sustainable towel in the world and sunglasses too. And the sunglasses, the case that the sunglasses come in, are made out of swimsuit material, which is just super cool. Okay, let's get into the food. I am so hungry. I did have my protein shake this morning, and I basically had 2 bananas because I was waiting for the food to come and also had to get ready. But let's talk about Black Rail. So Black Rail was actually taken over by a married couple. Jin Hong and Hee Bin Yoon took over. And when I tell you that this model, what is wrong with me? This menu is so inventive and cool when it comes to the names of products. You just have to spend some time scrolling on there. I'm actually gonna pull it up now on DoorDash just so that I can talk to you about what I ordered for me, what I ordered for Nick, who's stuck in his room over there, and what I'm eating today. We're gonna pull it out. But Black Rail, let me just give you some examples of some of the best-selling pieces. Why is food clothes and clothes food right now? I mean, that is regretfully my fault because I decided that this podcast should be that way, but I'm having some trouble with my words today. Okay, so some of the featured items that are most popular and most ordered are the avocado toast, which I was gonna get, but I was really in the mood for a salad, and you'll see. Okay, the Willy cheese, the big tuna, Hannah's hoagie, my Turkish homie, these sandwiches are just so cool. There's one called the healthiest sandwich, and I really wanted to get it, but it was made with turkey, and right now I'm trying not to eat meat and be just pescatarian, really. And I ended up getting Nick a wrap, which was called, don't even say, maybe they sold out of it. It was called the Biggie wrap. It's the number 2 most liked on the menu, and it has bacon, egg, Gruyere and American cheese, stuffing, roasted red peppers, onions, and chipotle sauce on a wrap, and all of that screams Nick. So I got that for him. I got him a latte too, but he doesn't like to add any syrup, and I do. And then I was looking at their salads because I was just in the mood for a salad. Here's where the cats come over, okay? The reason why I ended up going with a salad is because their balsamic dressing is the thick balsamic dressing. Y'all know me. Yeah. A thick balsamic dressing is right up my alley, and I knew that, so I got 2 dressings. But also, I ended up getting the Where's the Meat salad because it's a vegetarian-based salad, but I always have to try tuna fish, everywhere. I love tuna salad. It's my favorite. So I thought the ingredients of this What the Health salad would just go really well with tuna, so we're going to try both. Girls, I just want them to be involved. Girls, Tuna, Trish, They're being super, like they are ignoring me today. All right, so we're gonna make the salad. Okay, I'm gonna make it in front of you. See, that's how thick the balsamic is. Oh, I love. See, I should get salads more often because you actually get to see me interacting with the food. Not that I think it's attractive when I interact with food. It's actually not attractive when I interact with food, but like, check it out sometimes. I think if you watch me be interactive with food, you'll learn to, I should have brought a napkin over here. You'll learn to live a little, have a little fun. Because I'm kind of like a messy eater. If you haven't already gathered that. All right, so here's like the tuna top. There's actually hot sauce on our little DVF for Target Lazy Susan right here. I'm not saying that it was me who spilled it, but I'm also not saying it wasn't me. Watch this like splashing all over. This is like ASMR right here. I also do want to tout Hoboken Girl for putting together a list of AAPI-owned businesses in Hoboken. And I believe Jersey City's on that list too. If it's not, it should be done. And we will do that research. Okay, so this salad has portobello mushrooms, which I love, roasted red peppers, fontina cheese. I got pickled onions in it because I love pickled onions, and I'm putting tuna fish on it. Is that weird? I don't know. But I'm going to try the tuna by itself first. Okay, I really can't lie to you guys. I was really hungry when I was getting ready for making this episode, so I tried the tuna already. And I'm telling you, it's like to die for. It is so good. It's, like if you like tuna that doesn't have like any chunks in it, this tuna is like that. It doesn't have relish, so it doesn't have that like sweet twist to it, but it's probably my favorite tuna fish I have tried in Hoboken so far. Kid you not, want to get a bagel with this weekend. And it is my birthday weekend when I'm filming this. So. Okay, so I'm just going to put some tuna on and then eat the rest of the tuna out of the tub. No, I'm kidding. I guess I should probably take a picture. Anyway. Okay, now I'm going to send you off to enjoy interviews with both Christine and with Jen of Ming Wang. I am going to allow you to just skip to whichever one you want to skip to. That way, if you want to watch this episode in segments, you can always watch Christine's interview and then watch the Ming Wang interview and learn about jewelry. We'll see you in a little while when you're done.
I think the inspiration for being inspired by women is a very natural thing. I think even with growing up in New York City and just being around really powerful women who really made a difference, in my life, whether it was teachers in 5th grade or my first boss or my mom or just women that I meet on the daily, they are the people who are always inspiring. So it just makes complete sense since I designed for women. And I designed for women who really want to kind of step into their own skin and feel really powerful in it. Not in a way that feels forced, but in a very natural way. Way that combines kind of the masculine and the feminine. And a lot of these women are, public speakers. They're in front of other really powerful people. And they're leading companies and leading teams and just meeting people all the time. So the last thing they want to think about really is, what am I wearing? They want to kind of jump into the day and feel like they can completely rule it. So it's something that I've always wanted, even as a kid. I said to myself, one day I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a badass woman. And that's who I designed for.
I love that. That is such great inspiration, and I'm so happy that you brought that to life. Now, some of the pieces that are definitely, they are prominent and they really stick out to me and would probably stick out to anyone who was shopping on your site is the suiting. And I think suiting is such a hard, there are not hard and fast places for women to go for suiting. I feel like the fashion industry has a lot to learn from you and from other designers who are doing it. So how do you feel that your brand is kind of filling that gap right now?
Well, I think there is a real gap in terms of the casual things that you wear from jeans and t-shirts, and then the true special occasion. There's this place in between that women really need suiting, but not in a way that feels super conservative or in the way that you think of like, like the 90s of like, women in office suits. In a more, it's more of a versatile way of wearing it. And you're very much how we dress now. We buy things, but we mix things up, we style them in a way that feels really like true to ourselves. The huge part of it for me has always been about fit.
Yeah.
And when it comes to suiting, it's about the shoulder, it's about the way that it tapers in at specific places. Proportions play a huge role in terms of like making it look dated or not. And then there's a fabrication. A lot of the fabrication that I use, for my spring, summer suiting specifically, is very drapey and easy. So there's this combination of ease, but then also of structure, which I find that we are always trying to also like find a balance of as well.
Yeah.
So the suiting can be worn, a lot of my suiting is in 3 pieces. So I'll have, the blazer, the vest, and the pants or the skirt, which you can easily put together for, a meeting or like something more important in terms of an event. But then you can kind of like take it apart and just wear it with like your tank top and flats. And very much like us and what we do on the daily, we're not like going to meetings at all times. Sometimes we're like, hanging out at the bar. Other times we're like in the playground with our kids. So those pieces, when I design them, not only do they need to go together, they also need to fit into like our life, our lifestyle, and then also be continuous from season to season. So as I'm designing as well, I'm thinking about, well, this is great for this season, but how do I connect it to next season? Or how do I connect it to the previous seasons? Do the colors go together? Am I helping my client figure out, or my customer figure out like how to complete her wardrobe? And also to make her understand that this is not like one of those things where you decide and it's like, it's forever. It's a progression of like our wardrobe, our personalities, and how we grow like as women and change as well. So suiting has definitely become like naturally a part of the entire like CA and Christine Alcalay world, because there's such a void and there's such a need for it. And many of the times when people come to me, they're like, I don't have a suit. But I don't want just any suit. I want something like really fresh and fun and feminine, but at the same time, kind of classic and timeless.
Absolutely. And I think like the way that you are talking, that you kind of break it apart and they can wear, just the pieces, or they can wear one of the pieces with something from like your previous collection and it flows. I feel like that makes it more of an investment piece, and people can kind of rationalize the reason that, they are investing in that 3-piece suit. So I really like that concept. And so something else that's very important to your brand and also kind of speaks to the price point a little bit is sustainability. What have you really learned since making sure that your brand is sustainable? And I guess just what's like the biggest takeaway when it comes to the difficulty of like maintaining a price point that your customers are comfortable with?
Yeah. I mean, sustainability has always been in the forefront of the brand. I think as of COVID, it became more of something that people are really talking about. So, I mean, as a really small brand and a small company that's based in New York, and we make everything in New York, we can't help but be sustainable. So when we're buying fabrics, it's, a few rolls at a time, and I'm working with local factories, and we're trying to maximize on the fabrics, because every single inch or every single centimeter that we waste is a part of our business. And we talk about the price point. Honestly, making things in New York City is so expensive. But I come from the garment district. I grew up there, and I've like worked there most of my life, and I know these women who like own these factories, and I like want them to stay in business, but they also need to make a living. So if you talk about the prices of our clothes, they're actually not that expensive. Because making things in New York and also sourcing fabrics, and we source our trims from New York, I like provide employment to like so many people who are local. So if you look at the price point and whether or not they're expensive, they're actually priced very, very well for what you are actually getting. Because I know the name of the person who's like sewing on the button. I know that like the lady who's like clipping all the little threads from the hems. It doesn't mean that things that are made overseas are like, in terms of quality, are less.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that we just have more control over it.
Yeah.
And the challenges of it is really that the factories in New York City, they're just like slowly disappearing because everything has become more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely one of the challenges that we have. And we work with 3 factories in New York City.
Wow.
And, and I've been talking to them. They're like, like, we need more work, Christine. Can you figure out like how to get us more work? So I'm in my design room looking at rolls of fabric and figuring out what kind of like drops I can do so that I can like sustain, their business, and so that we can continue what we're doing as well. Yeah. So I have such a responsibility to providing work for these like small factories. And at the same time, they have a responsibility to make really, really quality things so that we can continue that relationship. So it's like you can say that the prices are high, but they're actually not. And I get people all the time who come into the store and they ask me that question, well, why is this so expensive? And, I go in there and explain to them like that everything is designed in the back and all the samples are made there. And we take the train to 36th Street and we talk to the ladies who are there, who are like making it for us. So, there are not that many brands that do that anymore. And I really pride myself in kind of like keeping it small in that way because it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, totally. And I don't think like your prices are expensive at all in comparison to, right? We see like a lot of sustainable brands that are a little bit more high end, or maybe they're even not, and it's the same quality, but they are hiking the prices up. And it sounds like one of the main reasons is because you do your research. Like, how to make the clothing as affordable as possible for you and for everyone who's like actually in the production process. So I just think that's really impressive. And of course, when someone comes in, it is more expensive than fast fashion, but you're getting a quality piece and you're being kind to the environment. So it totally makes sense.
And there's like this idea of like attainable luxury that I really love as well. I love it when I meet someone and then years later they like slide into my DM and they're like, you know what, I saved money for that dress that you showed us like 5 years ago. And those kind of moments really are like really heartwarming for me because I know that they have like in those years like saved enough money to buy an investment piece, something that they like could not stop thinking about. So I don't want to let that go. I want to continue to make clothing here that is attainable. If like you really kind of like put your mind to it, and it's not for everyone, and it's not meant for everyone. But it's so much about like the idea of me, even when I was little, wanting to be a fashion designer, like wanting to be this kind of like powerful woman, and kind of feeding into that a little bit as well, and making sure that it is something that people can have and women can have if they just like kind of put a little bit of money aside like every month.
Totally. And I think we all have, we've all been shopping for a while as women. And I think we all probably know what it's like to like buy a dress from a fast fashion brand and see how quickly it either, rips, or you can tell that it's not good quality, or it goes out of style and you're just not interested in it anymore. So it probably makes you feel so good when you hear that someone's like, wow, like I've had this piece in my wardrobe for 10 years and I still love it. And it's still my favorite black dress,
No, it's the greatest feeling, and that's really the goal. And it happens quite often when someone comes in. I actually had a customer in this weekend, and like I've been designing like all of my life, so I used to like make little things and sell it in the shop. And this woman came in, and she had bought this dress 20 years ago, and she's describing it to me, and I was like, 20 years ago?
Oh my God,
that's insane! Like, you need to bring that in so I can see what that looks like. And it's such a great thing, and it's the intentionality, not just the way I design and make things, but because I'm kind of pushing that initiative.
Yeah,
the people who shop here have that same sort of value. So it's the idea of like, yes, I'm buying something really special, So I'm going to keep it and I'm going to wear it. So it's an ebb and flow. It's a conversation, and it's a conversation that I want to have with people who really understand it and women who value the same things as well.
Totally. Well, I know that you do different drops, you have different collections, but do you have any best selling, maybe instead of like one piece, it's like a silhouette that you reproduce season after season? And do you have any data about like, why or who's buying those best selling pieces and even what your favorite is?
Yeah, so through the years, I've like run data, and there are specific like signature pieces. Yes, our suiting is always a part of it. So, our blazer vest and like wide leg pants are something that are always on the list. And the other things that are really interesting, I find, are our silk organza pieces, which are definitely much more diaphanous, a little bit more theatrical, dramatic. And then some of our silk dupioni pieces, which are like some of our kind of like more dressy, like jumpsuits. And I think that's the case because, again, of their versatility. A lot of our silk organza pieces are pieces that people can travel with. So it can immediately make, a simple pair of trousers and a little top look suddenly, like really, really dressy. And then our dupioni pieces, they ride this like fine line. Like I've like said before, like I don't make special occasion wear. Like that's not something that I ever want to do. But I do make pieces that make people feel special on occasion. It's like kind of this, like it's just enough drama. And the way that I kind of decide on it is, like, again, it's just how I live. Like there's some times where I'll layer all the different organza pieces together, and something that could be so simple can suddenly be so dramatic and wonderful and beautiful. And I think that like my customers looking for that as well. It just keeps going back to versatility, timelessness, and how often, she can use it, and make it, whether it's a part of her uniform or maybe just kind of, just make it a little bit more flowery and add a little bit more detail with just our silk organza. So just pieces. So those are pretty much like the pieces. And my favorite overall, I love my suiting. I wear my suiting almost like every single day in terms of like pieces here or there. But the silk organza pieces are like pieces that are so special. And I can see them being pieces that can be like passed on from generation to generation.
Yeah.
As well. Like they're such heirloom pieces that are so intricately made, but also very wearable.
Yeah.
So it's cross generational. And those are like definitely my favorites for sure.
I love that. Now, I know you have an atelier as well. Do you invite customers into your atelier? Is there custom going on there? What happens there?
So it kind of really depends. I don't offer a ton of custom because we're a very small team. And a lot of people don't understand that custom means that there are actual patterns that have to be created for the person.
Right.
And I eventually would love to delve back into that because when I first started, I did a lot of custom. But, our business is about our team, finding the right people, finding the people who really know what they're doing. So sometimes when I have a little bit of time and if I have some fabrics left over and someone comes to me and really loves something, I'll make an exception and make something custom for them. But otherwise, the atelier really is there for me to design. I make the patterns, make the samples there. But I think the largest part of it is for when people come in, it's for them to understand that the work is being done here.
Yeah.
Like this is the kitchen. This is where we make the mess. This is where we bring out the flour. This is how we experiment. And it starts that conversation again of making people realize that the things that are on this rack have people behind it.
Yeah.
And if people are really interested and I'm not like super busy, like I'll invite them into the atelier and show them my button collection or the samples for the next season. And we bring them downstairs to the basement to show them the sewing machines, like what the process is. We get a lot of also like younger, like teenagers who are like interested in fashion. They'll come and like leave me little post-its and say, can I come for a visit? And I feel like it's definitely a part of my storytelling and a huge part of the brand. So it's it creates a space for that conversation. And it's
Mm-hmm.
always really fun. And people are always kind of like wowed because you don't really see a sewing machine anymore. You don't see the threads or the buttons or even sketches
Yeah.
anymore. Like you just see lots and lots of clothes on racks that keep constantly, moving and shifting. So in a little way as I can, I do feel like it makes a difference. And it's like going to a restaurant and seeing like, the chef in the back cooking. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, like there's that person is making my food and that changes everything.
Yeah, I think like it makes a huge difference. I think that it makes your brand feel so much more special just when someone like walks in the door and sees that. I think like it's undeniable, even if you don't know about fashion and you don't know about like what sustainability means in fashion or, just caring about the people who make your clothing and being hands on, like seeing it, it's almost like convincing, like it's right there in front of you. So that's awesome. And I know that online you also stock other brands as well. So, how do you go about choosing which brands you want to partner with there? And how do you make sure that they really like fit into your ethos? Because, as someone who is your shopper, you want them to feel like the transition between like page to page on your retail site is seamless.
Yeah, so besides my brand, I own a few boutiques, and I buy for those boutiques as well. And the Kiwi and Fig are much more kind of like day to day jeans and t-shirts, and then also a smattering of a million other things as well.
Mm,
So there's no lack of me seeing all the brands and what's out there. So
yeah.
when it came to like this space specifically, I the difference is Kiwi and Fig were created for the neighborhood and for the community. I created them with having that customer in mind and kind of like filled in all the voids there. When I opened up Christine Alcalay Atelier, I really was thinking more about creating a space that was truly mine where I can invite people in and tell them that story. So all of the brands that I have here are brands that I use, brands that like I stand by, brands that I've like collected through the years that may not have been the right brand or kind of thing for the other shops, but have the space to really shine here. So it really does have to like fit into my lifestyle or the lifestyle of like the customer that we serve here. I'm always trying to fill in like that void of what she's missing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times it's what I'm missing as well. So everything from shoes to jewelry to makeup, like I stand behind them and I use them every single day myself. And that's what the difference is as well. Like they've been like tried and true and tested for like years
Yeah.
before like making it here. So it's really like it's extremely selective. And something that I'm like really proud to like stand behind.
Yeah. Well, my next question was going to be like, who is the Christine Alcalay woman? But I feel like you're basically saying like, it's you. And I think that that's like, I've always said this, like, any time I meet someone or like I know that someone's like starting a business of their own or they need an idea for a story, I'm always like, look within. Like it's whatever you like, it's whatever interests you. So I'm feeling like that's the sense I'm getting, but you tell me if I'm wrong. Like, who is the woman?
You're so right. And I have to say that like it has not always been. And I think that was one of the major issues that I had before. I was kind of designing for this kind of imaginary woman.
Hmm.
And I think I had to get to like a space in my life in terms of like goals and who I am to finally understand her. So was I always my woman? I don't think so.
Hmm.
Have I like worked towards like becoming her? Gosh, I really hope so.
Yeah.
Because she's amazing. Our woman is just she's like an innovator and a go-getter, and she doesn't really care so much about brands or like who like she's wearing across her chest. She's really about quality, and she's like a woman who's like in the public eye quite a bit, and has like a great sense like of style. So yeah, I hope to become her. I hope to become her, and I hope to like inspire her. But she also is someone who's like ever evolving, very much like myself.
Hmm.
I can certainly relate to her better now, and that I think all like kind of started around COVID again. It's like we keep talking about going back to that space of like asking, and I really asked myself during that time, why are you doing this? Like, who are you doing this for? What's the purpose of what you design, like, what are you doing differently than the thousands of other brands out there? And the answer kind of came back to like me and my story and the thing that I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So every day, like, I come and I show up and like I just do the thing I do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of magical and magnetic that these women are like just finding me.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that there is so much like connection and a lot of parallel.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, it's kind of happened by mistake. But also it feels really good that there are women out there and people out there like me who have exactly the same values,
Yeah,
and style as well.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're in this like really great place right now where you have such a great understanding of your brands and your boutiques. And in, finding that and growing, what do you think, and this could be like a hard question, I know, but what do you think was your biggest challenge, or maybe like the one challenge that forced you into like kicked you into high gear kind of, and like really showed you what you wanted to see, what you wanted to come to life, and, just like propelled you into making it happen?
Yeah, I've got to say that I think I've taken a bit of a scenic route in terms of like how I've been doing things, and not really realizing like where my strengths actually are. One of my biggest strengths and what I've been doing for all of my life is retail. And for some reason with Christy and Alcalay, I kept going to like different routes and figuring out like different ways to do it. And I was like, well, maybe this is the secret to it, or maybe this market is the secret to it. And once I kind of like honed into what I really do and what I'm really good at, which is to face brick and mortar, connecting with communities, finding my woman, being who I am so that she finds me. That was the biggest challenge. And it took me forever to get there. And I know it sounds like kind of like crazy, but I don't know why it took that long, but maybe a part of it was I just needed to get to a point in my own path as a woman to understand who my woman is exactly as well. But that was my biggest challenge, kind of just like they say that things are right under your nose.
Yeah.
And right under my nose. And I should have like seen that sooner, but I was trying to do it like, I was trying so many other paths of the way that other designers were doing it. And that has never worked for me.
Yeah.
Ever. And continues not to. So I'm just trying to find like my own path of just human to human connections, and being able to like build those kind of like relationships and communities within the spaces that I reside.
That totally makes sense. Well, let's end on a positive note. It is AAPI Heritage Month, and I would love for you, if you have any, to share any other AAPI founded brands that you love and that you use. And also, just how do you celebrate AAPI Heritage Month?
AAPI Heritage Month is such an interesting month. It's definitely newer. So I sometimes honestly am a little conflicted about it. But at the same time, I'm also so happy that there is a month where, people who are of, my background can be celebrated. The ways that I celebrate really are just, like I look a lot at my history, and I look a lot at, the women and the people who make my clothing. Like I'm surrounded by them, and without them, none of this would be possible.
Mm-hmm.
Be it like the factory, the people who work and cut and sew my clothes, or the women who have been in my lives who showed me how to do all these things, or my mom, or just the entire history of where I come from and how I got into where I am is there. It's all AAPI women and who have made this possible for me. And in terms of like the brands that I love, I mean, in shop, we have Clay. And we also have like Ming, Wang. We carry like Verdant. These are all like AAPI brands. And I also love going to like In Toto, which is like a market in LA where there are a lot of like BIPOC brands. And it's a way for like me to really connect with other brands as well, who are in the same, places I, because we're all so busy kind of like doing our things.
Yeah.
But I love that the month has really put a spotlight on, Asian Americans specifically, because we tend to kind of sit in the backgrounds a little bit. We tend to sometimes become a bit invisible, and it's not a comfortable spot. It's not a spot that feels natural really at all, but it's so important that it's celebrated and that like we're celebrated and that there is that chance for that spotlight.
That was such a great answer. And yeah, I mean, I think that I would just love to come check out your atelier. And it sounds like we would have so much fun together. And thank you for being on. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Christine Alcalay. Please also enjoy my interview with Jen of Ming Wang.
I studied fashion design at FIT, and I specialize in evening wear. I really loved experimenting with layers and volume, and that's through draping. I especially love draping. As I was looking for and seeking for something more sustainable and long-lasting, I transitioned into jewelry making because it was important to me to know that my creations gets passed on and gets adorned for many years to come. So I love using my hands to sculpt, shape through carving, molding, through wax. And the process definitely had a really strong connection from a apparel background. Yeah.
That's awesome. And I know that I was reading a little bit about you and that you're just like the way that you see jewelry and almost like your vision can be traced back to your heritage from watching like your mom play mahjong. So do you have like, how do you consistently work that into your new creations and collections? Is there something that you like look out to inspire you? And how do you just kind of keep that DNA consistent?
Well, I grew up watching my mom play mahjong in the 80s, and all my aunties would come over to our house and dripped in their best fit for the evening. So, and then it's always a late night. And then back in the day, it was totally fine to stay up, and I would just like sit next to my mom, catch up on the family gossip. It was just so much fun. Spill the tea, it was so much fun. Like they were literally drinking tea, and trying to stay up late so they can play all night long. And especially the jewelry from that era, it's like really bold statement pieces. And then eventually it helped me shape my ideas today.
Yeah.
Like say my current season, spring summer 2024 collections, my way of paying homepage to the 80s and to my mom, like this Constantine earring. It's very minimal, and it's my modern take on one of my mom's beautiful pieces from her jewelry box from that time, from that era. It's very minimal, it's bold, and it has a big circular real freshwater pearl at the center. It's a statement. Yeah.
I love that. It is so cool because it is a bigger pearl, but at the same time, the way that you have like the metal behind it makes it minimal. It's a really cool, like dichotomy there. I love that.
Thank you.
So let's also talk a little bit about sustainability because I know that that's important to you and it's definitely important to us as a podcast. We just had a whole month where we were talking about sustainable brands. So one of the challenges is like keeping things cost effective, both for your brand, your company, and then also for your clients. You want to keep like your customers happy with an accessible price point. So how are some of the ways that you like make sure that you're doing that?
Well, I actually always used recycled sterling silver since I started my brand back in 2013. And I never even thought to promote it in a way that I was just like, oh, this is it. But then I was still using regular brass because it was just more affordable. But after becoming a mother in 2020, I made a decision that I'm going to transition from brass to recycled brass. And that itself didn't feel good enough. So in recent years, I've actually made a personal decision to move away from brass. And only like my newer collections are only going to be focusing on recycled sterling silver because I learned for refining the really truly recycling these metal is very, very complicated. Brass consists of copper, zinc, tin, iron, and sometimes sadly maybe like lead and nickel, like things that we're actually allergic to. Like 1 out of 2,000 people are actually allergic to nickel. So, and then it comes in plating. So I just want to be really clean. I don't even want to have any sort of confusion of like, and plus like brass itself is it's such a affordable metal that I don't want it to become like garbage, like by accident, just because it's so affordable. People just treat it like, oh, it's just another thing. So for me, it's really important to kind of clean up my foundation to only use sterling silver. And I try my best because recycled metal is actually more expensive because you have the physical labor involved to recycle it, to separate it, and to refine it and then reuse it. It's not like so easy. You just melt it and remake something. So yeah, I wish it's not so backwards, like it's more expensive. I hope that could change and then it's becoming more accessible for everyone.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're definitely taking the steps you need to make it as clean as possible for everyone.
As clean as possible. And then, but not stop from sharing this platform of creation to, still keep inspiring each other through like my customers and through other brands too. It's like not really stopping work, but still just like kind of introducing a cleaner way of fashion. Yeah,
that makes sense. All right, well, let's talk about your pearls because they're obviously so beautiful. And I think a lot of people have a fascination with pearls. I know I definitely do. Like I always had in the back of my mind, I was like, I want an engagement ring with like a black pearl. I love pearls. And they're forever classic. So what is something that you've learned about pearls through working with them that you think like our viewers and listeners would be surprised to know?
So pearls is really interesting. I love pearls too. It's just the luster, the iridescent and the different shapes. And it's all so organic. And it's like it is the oldest gem that's been worn by many royalty. Like it dates back like thousands of years ago, even though it's not like a gemstone, but it is considered under the category of gemstone. And I only use freshwater pearls that's cultivated. So instead of extracting wild pearls from open water and changing its natural habitat, I use pearls that are farmed in a designated area where it also cleans the surrounding water. That I learned that it filters heavy metal and toxins. That's so awesome. It's such a, I think we have, I do know that we have a project by East River in New York that it's part of their oyster program, that some are being eaten, some are being used. So just to clean the surrounding water.
Cool.
And oftentimes the oysters that are cultivated, that are farmed, gets a second chance. They are put back to be farmed more, to regenerate. So that itself is really sustainable. And then the idea that it made me more comfortable using it, because it's so beautiful. It's so appealing. Yeah, the luster.
Yeah, I like that because literally with every like little gemstone you use or your metals, like you're always finding a way to make it like as clean as possible and also kind of like give back to the environment at the same time. So that is awesome.
Oh, I
try. Okay. Do you have, just talking about, bringing the jewelry to life and seeing it on other people, do you have any memorable moments? Maybe it was when like your brand started where you were excited to hear from a customer, or maybe like a celebrity placement or an editorial placement, anything that kind of like keeps you going and inspires you?
Well, I'm very grateful for all the editorial placements that I've been receiving, but nothing compares to when a customer writes me a personal note. It just feels so real and so honest. Yeah. Because no one else is watching, no one else is reading this, just me. And there was one incident where one return customer happened to be in a neighborhood and requested for an in-person pickup. He shared how much his partner appreciates receiving Wang as a gift. And I so love the idea. I'm actually playing a part in people's celebration. It's like, it brings me so much joy.
Yeah, I've interviewed so many people at this point that are in the fashion industry and have their own collections. And that's always been the consistent answer. Everyone's like, I like it when it's just a personal note to me. And I'm making a difference in someone's life who like is just an average everyday person. It's really cool.
It's so real. It's so awesome. Yeah.
I love that. Well, do you have, I know you said like you're excited about spring 2024, but do you have any pieces that you're specifically excited about? Maybe you like to wear them yourself or you just feel like they're going to be a bestseller?
Spring SS24 is definitely very special. And then I wear a lot, but I do have something that I'm actually wearing right now that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's actually my holiday capsule, but then a lot of things I do are seasonal. We do drops, but then at the same time, it's like, it's jewelry. It's like, it's timeless.
Mm-hmm.
So this one, I actually wear a lot. So I'm wearing it right now.
I love it.
This ring is called Perle ring, and this is called Antoinette necklace. So these are very special to me because I actually handcrafted them individually because each pearl, as you can see, is very unique.
Yeah.
And
how do you do that? Like, how do you bend it and shape it?
Yeah, it's very labor intensive, like, and then I love that. Yeah, so I use these like thin wax and I fold it over the pearl.
Okay.
And I shape it and then I get it cast. And then after it gets cast, it has to be cleaned.
Okay.
And then after cleaning, it loses shape. So I have to kind of re-hug it back to make it form nicely. And then there's a post has to be soldered. And then we drill the pearl and then put the pearl back in with a little like jeweler's glue to kind of secure it. But on top of that, I have to use these tools by not scratching the metal and then kind of hug it back, like form it back. But it's also like very pleasing shape and very endearing. Like these are definitely conversation pieces where like, when I wear them out, it's always like, they have to give me 10 minutes for it.
I can see that completely. Okay, so just in the nature of you, moving on with your brand through the years, what can we expect to come? Do you have any goals that you want to achieve with your brand? Do you have any like dream collaborations you want to do or anything like that?
I'm actually working on something that's I'm like a storyteller, but everyone has their medium of how to tell a story. For me, it's through my jewelry. And for me, I want to do more of that to share using my small platform to share and relate to similar audience and people who can connect. And so I went to FIT and then I wanted to kind of spotlight that moment of my learning. So I'm actually working on a new collection that's like hand folded fabric like shapes. That's like, I mean, I don't want to tell you too much about it, but it's like a love letter to FIT days.
I love that.
I'm so excited about it, and then I'm currently working on it, and it's getting there.
That is so cool.
And then I want to do, at a personal level, I want to do more one of a kind. And then like truly hone into like sustainable and ethical. I do a lot of research before I kind of like set on a stone. So right now I'm like, I've been using a lot of jade and then I want to use more jade, but I need to know where it's from.
Yeah.
Before I just like, oh, it's pretty, it's green.
That makes sense.
So it takes me a process to make sure it's
funny.
Legit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell that you obviously care about where all of your resources are coming from, which is amazing. And it's funny you said that, like, I mean, I love the idea of like paying homage back to that time period of your life. And I think like as a writer, like you're right, like everyone does tell stories differently. And as a writer, it's like so interesting because I'll go back to like a time in my life and be like, okay, how am I going to tell this story and be inspired by that time? And for you, it's like making it into something that is like a work of art and craft and tangible. And that's just so cool. I cannot wait to see that collection, that drop. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so finally, how do you like to celebrate AAPI Heritage Month? And do you have any other brands that you like to shop that are AAPI founded?
I will definitely be playing a lot of mahjong. I play mahjong all the time with my friends, and it's sort of like started about a year ago. I found this crew that I get to play with, so it's really so we're probably gonna play more this month in celebration of AAPI but the thing is, like, what I love about it, it's like there has been a lot of amazing childhood stories shared during our games. It's not just about the game, it's like exchanging thoughts, ideas. We sometimes do a co-creative. Like, I have like these ideas about my jewelry, but I'm like, what do you guys think? And then we can talk about it. But then also the sharing childhood stories part, it's like it's heritage. It's a lot of my friends are Asian American that I play with, and it is so important to me and to my family that there's a continuation of conversation of the past and present views of different forms of heritage that itself is so empowering. Yeah.
Totally. I love that.
I'm looking forward to a lot of that this month.
That's such a great answer.
Oh, and I love reception bar in the Lower East Side.
Okay.
So the owner Katie opened reception bar with like a goal to create a physical space where it personifies the Asian American experience. She infuses Korean heritage ingredients into quality cocktails, and it's so delicious, affordable, and addictive. So I'll be hanging out there a lot.
Awesome.
I've been hanging out there. I love Katie. So
thank you so much for watching. Did you hear that? You know, just because mommy doesn't give you tuna fish doesn't mean you gotta be mean to me. Don't be mean to me. Don't be mean to me. She's not having it today. The cats are not having me today. Not at all. I'm really sorry about that, guys. But hopefully next episode, they'll be back. But I don't know. Yeah, so thank you for watching. This has been AAPI-Owned Businesses and Fashion Brands. If you live in the Hoboken area, absolutely check out Black Rail. I'm about to down and house this entire fucking salad and finish my oat milk latte. And yeah, I hope you shop some of the brands that I mentioned today and some of the ones you got to know. Christine of Christine Alcalay and Jen of Ming Wang. And yeah, like, subscribe, tell your friends about Dinner for Shoes. Bye.